All right. Here we go, guys and gals. And boogity, boogity, boogity. Let's go racing, drivers.
Anyway, let's get into the reviews.
And now for last week's race reviews.
NASCAR Truck Series, Daniel Hemrick won. And he did his backflip. And the funny thing is, Butter, is that...
Stop calling me that.
I don't know, Jim. The funny thing is about that is that he does his backflip. And Corey LaJoie, at the end of the year, could have took that truck. He had the opportunity to drive that truck, but said, nah, racing on Sundays in a Rick Ware car is better for me than driving a truck that is capable of winning. So, I know today's April Fool's Day, but Corey LaJoie looks like a fool for that. That's going to be I don't know. Going to Xfinity Series, we had our ARCA Breaks moment of the week when Sammy Smith decided from 3 car lengths back, on the final corner from second place, yeah, I want to dump the leader and cause chaos for no reason, and we can have a clean race. Like, I'm fine with you bumping a guy.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just slam a guy from the next town over just because. Like, he tried to save himself. He tried to frame himself up. He didn't really do that real well. Got fined and NASCAR took points away. But Sammy Smith, ARCA Breaks moment of the week. So we went into the Cup Series. Bell leads from pole, followed by Chase Elliott, getting the lead early. So all the people out there saying, oh yeah, Chase Elliott's not very good anymore. He's doing fine. Relax. Then we had a debris caution where on that caution, Logano and Bell took 2 tires, and then you had a handful of guys stay out that were Cindric, Barry, Cole Custer, Brad Keselowski, Ryan Blaney, and Riley Herbst. And then you had Chris Buescher spinning out after contact from Carson Hocevar, where Buescher just tried to clear himself up when Carson Hocevar's car was there. Chase Elliott first off pit road, and then a handful of cars stay out that were led by Logano, Bowman, Keselowski, Allmendinger, Preece, Jones, and I have Jones written twice. I believe John Hunter Nemechek was one of those 2 cars. Barry has a battery issue that put him multiple laps down and out of the race, and out of contention. And then Logano won stage 1, stage 2. Most stay out. Bowman leads, then Chase Elliott led. And then you had the 50 car of Burt Myers stalling, bring out the yellow. And then Hamlin leading after pit stops, wins stage 2. And then stage 3, Hamlin first off. Riley Herbst spins, green flags, pit stops. Shane Van Gisbergen, say it with me, Ethan, had a loose wheel.
Oh, I didn't know what you were saying.
And spun. You could have read the doc. It is there.
I ain't reading your notes, little bro. Those are for you.
They are for me, but you could read them. And then Hamlin first off, then Ty Gibbs spun, and we had a Noah Gragson spun after Chris Buescher decided to jump the curb. Logano spun as well, and then we had a long, boring run where Hamlin dominated and won. I would give that race a 6 out of 10. A good start, not a very good end. The first half of the race, I would say, yeah, this is probably an 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10, and then the race kind of just fell off at the end. Just didn't quite give the product I was expecting and hoping. But we'll see what happens in the fall. Good ratings boost. We don't really talk about ratings on here, but up 11%, which is something that is surprisingly high. I do believe NASCAR in the ratings booth room is going in the right direction.
Mm-hmm.
Whether that's a good thing for the sport as a whole or a bad thing as a sport is
Well, how would it be a bad thing?
Well, here's why. Is that the executives, which we'll talk about later, they say, oh yeah, our product that we have is a good thing. Which isn't necessarily 100% true. You've got stages that a lot of people don't like.
Sure.
You've got the point system, which has been scrutinized by everyone and their mother, it feels
Mm-hmm.
like. You have stuff like this that probably do need changing, and NASCAR itself is going to justify those with the like this type of thing.
Yeah, fair.
So that's why it's not all a good thing. It's still good, but it's not.
It's not all good.
It's not all good, which is weird to say. Like, we shouldn't be having this conversation, but
here we are.
it is what it is. Already into the news, not even 10 minutes into the show. This is an actual headline I read today. It is true. Legacy Motor Club is suing Rick Ware Racing for backing out of a charter deal. It would be where Rick Ware Racing would be selling their one charter that they have, or one of their two charters that they have. They would have one in loan to someone. I don't remember quite. I believe it's the 60 team is getting loaned that charter at right now. But it would be that one of their two charters that Rick Ware owns would be sold to Legacy Motor Club. In a 46-page complaint, this is per TobyChristie.com, 46-page complaint filed today, Tuesday, April 1st, Legacy Motor Club says that the two organizations came to agreement on the sale of charter on March 3rd. But despite the agreement being signed and initiated on each page for good measure, Rick Ware Racing is attempting to back out. So that's part of the thing. And and they go on to say Legacy has said Rick Ware has wanted to back out. They've tried to talk sense into them, and now they're just suing them. They're all requesting a temporary restraining order and a preliminary injunction against Rick Ware Racing, as the team would face immediate and irreparable harm, which, if this deal was a deal, and if this deal isn't going through, yes, that is true. Rick Ware, this is where we get some juice, Ethan Ignatowski. Rick Ware Racing, in this complaint, is described as, quote, strapped for cash and unable to compete at the Cup Series level by its own admission.
That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, Rick. I was correct that Rick Ware has two charters. The one for its 51, and the other one being leased to the 60 team for RFK. That's basically what's going on there. But they aren't wrong for saying Rick Ware Racing isn't running good, because they haven't. I don't believe there's an easy way to see the owner's points through the years. I don't think a Rick Ware car is finished above 30th.
Yeah.
Just because they've never ran well. They've always seemed to have a rotation of drivers, and when they haven't, it's the guy who's done the majority of full-time work from is the guy who's the owner's son, and quite frankly isn't good. So that is true. What they're saying about how Rick Ware Racing is not able to field competitive teams is true. You look at pretty much all other 35 cars on the grid and say, oh yeah, that team can easily get a top 5, top 10, and wouldn't be surprised. But then you look at the Rick Ware car and say, Cody Ware's would be lucky to sniff the top 20 at a super speedway.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where the luck-based races are. That shows you how good of a driver Cody Ware is. So, yeah, they're not wrong about that. I would like to see that charter out of Rick Ware Racing's hands, whether it's by them willingly selling it off or the part of the lawsuit. Yeah, I'd like to see Rick Ware without the chart. Only because they're just shown they can't be competitive. If they've shown that they could be competitive and tried to make steps into improving their team, I'd say yeah. I'd like to see them with a charter. They haven't. That's just the way it is. I can't frame it any other way. You know what I'm saying, Ethan?
Yeah.
So this is an interesting one for me. Is NASCAR leadership changing here? NASCAR adds the commissioner, which Steve Phelps is taking that role. And Steve O'Donnell is replacing Steve Phelps as president.
Yeah.
So I don't know how this will change the product, but it's going to change day-to-day things in NASCAR headquarters, certainly. I know the fans don't really love the Steve O'Donnell more than Steve Phelps. They don't like O'Donnell that much. I do like Steve Phelps, but I'm not a big Steve O'Donnell guy. I know.
How come?
I like some of the things that he said in the NASCAR State of the Sport last year. Just were baffling, and that's not the first time he said baffling things either. There might be other executives within NASCAR who do believe those same things. I don't know those things off the top of my head, but this is the guy that says them. And at the end of the day, I know he's a big believer in the playoff system and the way it is.
Yeah.
So he's not the guy I want to see with that spot. I do like Steve Phelps. I do what he's I think a big part of how NASCAR's improved their product. I don't know how much changes as this will go on. I feel like it's just for the sake of having a commissioner. That's how I feel about this move. And then moving over to IndyCar here, Jay Fry, former IndyCar president, joins RL as team president.
Interesting.
RL in the past handful of years has had a handful of team principals, team presidents, that role. They haven't had someone to stable, get the team stable. That's you've seen how I feel in recent years Graham Rahal's taken a dip in performance. You did have Christian Lundgaard break out, but the 30 car has never really ran well, I don't think ever. And this new 45 car, Christian Lundgaard has broke out for them, but now he's gone. I mean, they couldn't handle him because he was too good for them. So that's interesting. We'll see how this is a very interesting movie. It could work out, or it could be just like the rest of the team principals. And Ethan, I did forget something. Is that after the NASCAR race, Denny Hamlin put up there was a flag that he had that said 11 against the world.
Mm-hmm.
Which he can believe that's fine. But
I can't believe you're doing this.
Displaying that, it's such just a cringeworthy move.
Nah.
And Mike Joy, when he saw it, he just goes, "Really?" That was the perfect reaction. Mike Joy I will give a compliment to Mike Joy. Everyone's saying, this Fox booth is not very good. Mike Joy's washed. Mike Joy was on a heater on Sunday. You had that. He called the Xfinity Series race a dumpster fire and said, no, wait, a dumpster fire is contained. The Xfinity race was not. Which he was right. Like, he might be coming off as a little bit grumpy old man, but he's got a very valid reason to be grumpy in both cases. So, Denny Hamlin, you get the chicken award for just being a prick. Like,
Pretty sure you can't say that on air.
I feel like we've had this conversation before about that word, but you know Connor Daly's sponsor at I think it was the 2020 IndyCar
I don't know.
race 1 at the Indy road course was tired of pricks.
Okay.
Referring to like something related to like medicine.
That's crazy. Denny Hamlin, though, back to that. Denny, I'm sorry that Andrew Hazlett is disrespecting you. I'm giving you the Norm Benning Award because I think what you did was hilarious. You have all these fans up in arms because, oh no, how dare a driver show any emotion? This is what I don't understand about you NASCAR fans, right? You want drivers to show emotion, but not too much in this specific way. And, but sometimes it's okay because now Kyle Busch, he can do it, but Denny can't. And I honestly just don't get it, Andrew. Especially Denny Hamlin, a guy who is doing so much for the sport, outside the sport. He's got his podcast. He is literally battling against NASCAR in the court system to try to improve the series. And NASCAR fans just love to hate this guy. And I don't understand it at all. He is an amazing driver. Everyone hates him. Hell yeah for him being like, yeah, okay, I'll do it. I cool. It's just I don't understand it, Andrew. Like you tried to explain it to me before, but it's just illogical. It is so illogical. Denny Hamlin, you have my full support. For no other reason than NASCAR fans being hypocrites, quite honestly.
Here's the thing about NASCAR fans. They don't know what they want in terms of.
You don't know what you want.
I know what I want.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do. I want a nice big bowl of Jello when I get home. That's what I want.
The show is off the rails.
It's off the wheels. Get it right. You can say the wheels are loose.
Too tired for this.
You know I'm hilarious.
And you're not. But carry on, Andrew.
You're laughing. Anyway, here, like, the thing is that you can come off as, like, you're allowed to show personality, but if you come off as an idiot, I will clown on you. And that's what Denny is. I think that's what he is doing.
I disagree.
I think it's just
if
he's trying to do too much.
If Kyle Busch jumped out of a car with a flag that said Kyle Busch ate against the world, NASCAR fans would eat that up.
I wouldn't. If Chase Elliott did the same thing, I'd probably say, what are we doing? He's acting like an idiot. I don't care who you are. An idiot move is still an idiot move. I don't care who makes it. I don't care if
I think
Ty Gibbs, Jesus himself.
It riles up the fans. He did what he accomplished to do. Good for him.
I mean, he had a great win. Dominant car. Showed. I thought. I was thinking, like, who do I want to pick in this race? I looked at Denny Hamlin. That was my original thought. But the reason why I talked myself out of it is, like, he's got a new crew chief who I don't think is nearly the same as the previous one. And I think he's just kind of on a bit of a backsliding year. Don't know if I want to pick him. I thought William Byron, a 2-time winner there, he might get a third. Byron was only a Hendrick car not until lead a lap. on Sunday. Hamlin dominated the race. So I did mention him first in my 5, Hamlin. So so for all the people saying this guy's saying all this only because he knows the results. Well, no, I did mention him first for a reason.
I don't think that matters.
I don't did mention him in my 5.
It doesn't matter. People know he's good. Like, that's not what the issue is. People are just.
I know. I've kind of gone off that track into a different track.
And now for the news. Okay.
If you want to talk about Formula One news now, you can.
Yeah. So obviously, the biggest piece of news is something that we already talked about, but now it is confirmed. Yuki Tsunoda and Liam Lawson did indeed swap seats and will be swapped seats for the rest of the year. Helmut Marko has said that Yuki will be in Red Bull for the remainder of the season, and it just goes back to why in the world would they then put Liam in that car in the first place. Andrew, I quite simply don't understand it. To drop a guy after 2 races and before a track that he's extremely familiar with, to then put in Yuki Tsunoda, who, very good driver, but we know how much second drivers in that Red Bull car struggle, and that is with, like, practice and all this testing before the season. And now he doesn't have any of that, and you're throwing him right into the fire with Red Bull. I don't understand it. Lawson, he might take this in stride on the surface, but I'm sure his confidence is shot. Yuki, I don't know if he'll be able to compete with Max. Like, he's talking a big game, but so many drivers have failed. You know, it becomes a trend, Andrew. Like, it's first Gasly failed, and then Albon failed, and then Perez failed, and then Lawson, I don't even want to say he failed, but because that's unfair, but he did fail. What makes Yuki Tsunoda different? Because to me, absolutely nothing. I really like Yuki Tsunoda. I think that he should be in F1 for years to come, but to put him in that car, especially in this way, I just don't understand it at all. What is Red Bull thinking? Like, you had the opportunity to do this from the start, and now you're being impulsive after 2 races. It's mind-boggling and near malpractice. It's just, how do you logically do a chain of events like this? I mean, man, that car, because that car is not only slow, but it's so tuned to Max's driving style that no one else is going to sniff a good position. In my opinion. Maybe Yuki will prove me wrong, but I don't think that this is going to be a good weekend for him. I think Lawson is going to... I think he'll eventually get into the groove of things at RB, but he's going to struggle for a while. Yuki's probably going to struggle the rest of the year at Red Bull. I don't know what the future holds for either of those drivers, but like I said, Yuki is talking a big game. He's predicting, or he said he wants to be on the podium. That's the goal for himself this weekend. Best of luck to him. Liam has kind of, like I said, he's kind of taken this in stride. He said on Instagram after the move was announced, he said, being a Red Bull racing driver, or being an @Red Bull racing driver, has been my dream since I was a kid. It's what I've worked towards my whole life. It's tough, but I'm grateful for everything that's brought me to this. To every one of you who stood by me, thank you for all the support. It means the world. Thank you to Visa Cash App RB for the warm welcome. I'm excited and ready to go to work at one of my favorite places. He said that on Instagram, and then he kind of reiterated to the media, saying, I'm really looking forward to be racing in Japan this weekend. Suzuka is one of my favorite tracks on the calendar. It's cool to drive in very high speed, which makes it great fun in a Formula One car. This weekend is a very big opportunity for me as I rejoin Visa Cash App Racing Bulls, and I'm very excited to work with this team again. As always, I'll be giving it everything I have. Now, tons of people have come out supporting Liam, from pundits to other journalists to Max himself, who apparently did not want. It's being reported that he did not want this to happen. He thought it was too harsh, and I agree. It's way too harsh. Red Bull put Liam in the Red Bull because they saw the future in him, and now they've seen 2 bad races and they are changing their entire mind. I don't understand that. Is Liam no longer the future? I don't know what that team is doing. I don't think anyone ever knows what that team is doing, Andrew.
I don't even know if they know what they're doing. I don't have anything to say on this that hasn't been said by you or me last week.
Yeah.
Or you this week.
Like you said, maybe they don't even know what they're doing. Some more news, some kind of confusing news. Aston Martin is selling its stake in the Aston Martin F1 team, which will remain the Aston Martin F1 team. Now, let me try to break this down for you in as simple terms as possible, because I don't even know if I fully understand it. But from what I get, the gist of it is Aston Martin, the road car company, owns a percentage of the Aston Martin racing team. Aston Martin is majority owned by one of Lawrence Stroll's companies. Lawrence Stroll also owns a percentage of the racing team itself, I believe. So basically, it's just kind of a reshuffling of power. Someone will buy up the Aston Martin road car company's stake in the team. But the team is still being controlled by Lawrence Stroll. They're still going to have sponsorship ties to Aston Martin. It's still going to be called the Aston Martin Cognizant F1 team. It's just that the official road car company is no longer going to have direct monetary ties, but they remain in a close union. Aston Martin released a statement. They said, "Today's news underscores our executive chairman Lawrence Stroll's long-term and unwavering commitment to both Aston Martin and the current Formula One team. A long-term contract is now in place to ensure the Aston Martin name remains at the pinnacle of motorsport for decades to come. The proposed transition, which will see Aston Martin Lagonda, which is the road car company, sell its stake in the Aston Martin Aramco, not Cognizant, my bad, Formula One team, will result in Mr. Stroll increasing his sharehold in AML to 33% while strengthening the company's balance sheet by over £125 million. Mr. Stroll has commissioned the investment bank Rain Group to help find a buyer for AML's stake in the Formula One team. Rain will work closely with AMF1's commercial chief, Jeff Slack, to secure a strategic investor who can add long-term value to the team and the brand. Mr. Stroll said, "These moves demonstrate that Aston Martin's place on the Formula One grid is as secure as ever. AML recently recommitted to its long-term sponsorship and licensing agreement with AMF1, confirming that the legendary Aston Martin brand and its British racing green colors will compete in Formula One for decades to come." So, nothing is really going anywhere. It's just going to have slightly new ownership and control, but Lawrence Stroll is still the big boss of everything, pretty much. That's that in a nutshell. I'm sure there are more intricacies, but that's what I feel confident explaining on air.
So Papa Stroll is still Papa Stroll.
Yeah, it is still Papa Stroll Motorsports. But I don't know. Maybe this new whoever buys that stake will shed new light into the team that ends up having changes. I don't know. Only time will tell. Last piece of Formula One news, though, is Victor Martins, who I think he's racing in F2 still. He is. I don't know why I had to think about that for a second. He's honestly one of the guys who could win the championship this year, but that's neither here nor there. He is joining Williams as a he's joining their driver's academy pretty much. So I assume he'll do some testing for them this year and such, but he's joining the academy on the doorstep to F1 with them. He won the Formula 3 championship in 2022, and then in F2 he's had some good moments, he's had some not so great moments. Overall, it's been a fairly underwhelming stint in F2 after winning the 2022 Formula 3 championship, but he's a talented driver. Would not be surprised if he has success wherever he goes after Formula 1, but he is getting a little up there in age for a, young driver. He's 23, so we'll see where that goes. It's interesting, especially with Franco Colapinto loaned out to Alpine for as long as he is. Williams now bringing in another guy who they can have in the wings. They have other people as well, like Luke Browning, I believe, is still part of the Williams driver academy. I'll double check that real quick, but Luke Browning is still a member of the academy, so they have names. It's interesting, I guess, at the end of the day. That's all it really is. It's not something major. Could become something, but right now, just some news.
All right, on to the previews.
And now for next week's race previews.
Want to talk about China, Ethan? Or not China, wherever. Japan. Suzuka.
Yeah, so... no, not really, honestly, because we never really there's nothing worth previewing for F1 ever. Some teams are bringing, different liveries to Japan, which is cool. Haas is bringing, a pink, cherry blossom car, which is one of the best designs I've ever seen. Can't wait to see what it looks like on track. Red Bull is also bringing an absolute banger of a design. Steak / whatever they're called is bringing a new design, which is interesting, I suppose. It's very red, very... I don't even know how to describe it. Just look it up. It's not that great. But the other two are really cool looking. Can't wait to see what they look like
Ethan,
on the track.
What day is it?
Tuesday.
What's the date today?
April 1st.
Meaning?
Are they not actually bringing that car?
They're not bringing the actual steak car.
Wait, was it actually a steak? I didn't even
clock
that.
My God!
I just saw it. No, because I saw it and I was like, oh, that's ugly, and I scrolled. I didn't... I didn't actually, consider, looking at it, dude. My fault, y'all. I just saw I didn't realize it was a steak. I just saw red on the entire car is red. And I'm like, ew. I'll see more Italian brain rot memes, please. Get this off my screen.
That's gonna be clipped.
I'll delete it off Instagram if you post it. I am not letting this exist in the world. I don't even need to worry about it. You don't even edit the episodes anymore, so it's fine.
I did export the previous episode while I was listening to you earlier.
Oh, yeah?
I haven't put it on YouTube yet, but...
Slacking.
Anyway, Darlington, your open cars this week are JJ Alien, the 44, and Austin Hill in the 33. One piece of news that slipped my mind entirely. No, we talked about that last week, I'm pretty sure. Jesse Love making his Cup debut, I'm pretty sure we talked about it last week. I forgot we did. The 5 this week, we've got Denny Hamlin, 4-time winner there. Very good at Darlington. You've got Kyle Larson, good at running the high line, won there before. Then you've got William Byron, won there before as well. Chase Briscoe has won there before, last year in the Stuart Haas car. And two-time winner at Darlington, Eric Jones. Eric Jones, very good there. We'll see if Legacy can bring a car that's not bad. If Legacy brings a decent car, Eric Jones will run well. But will Legacy bring a decent car?
Well,
More than likely not. They're too busy adding a 25th vice president of marketing development and suing Rick Ware Racing, apparently. Those are the two more important things. Anyway.
of course. I mean, why as a racing team would you build a fast race car when you can do other fun things like that instead?
Anyway.
Do I not bring up a good point?
You bring up a good point. Honorable mentions, Kyle Busch, Logano, and two-time winner there, Brad Keselowski. NASCAR Xfinity Series changing drivers. You got Nick Lights in the 07 as a screen light car, Ross Chastain in the 9 Junior Motorsports car, Chase Elliott in this number 17 Hendrick car. The 19 will be driven by Christopher Bell for Joe Gibbs this week, 32 for Jordan Anderson, that's their third part-time car for Austin Green. Greg Van Alst and TBA will be in the Joey Gase Motorsports entries this week, 35 and 53. Mason Massey will be in the third Alpha Prime car. Dawson Cram in the 74 Mike Harmon car. And then Josh Bilicki back in the 91 DTM car. We'll see if he gets taken out by Chris Wright this week, because that happens often to him. So now, Ethan, into the pick points.
And now for next week's race picks. Let's do it.
Last week, you took the most pick points with 2.
a whopping 2. Increasing my lead, though. I'll take it.
Gas and I each took 1. Gas took Gio Ruggiero, who got 1 point over Ty Majeski and William Byron. Eric Almirola beat Connor Zilich, getting a point for me and you. Kyle Larson beat out William Byron and Joey Logano, getting a point for you. So now you sit at 63 points. I'm at 40. Gas at 39. Guests... Yeah, with their picks, they cannot reach you this week, and I don't think I can either. But
I'm solid, bro. I'm gonna run away with this championship again. Three-time winner about to be. Clock it.
We have, okay, all right. We've picked 34 races, and we have. Uno momento. I'm doing math. Journalist doing math. Please stand by. We have... Oh, man, that's not a fun number. 255 minus 36 minus 35 would be 220. We have 219 races to go, sir.
I'm chilling, bro.
219.
Yeah, I'm chilling.
I only have to make up a little more than 1/10 of a point per race.
I'm chilling, bro.
Okay, buddy.
Clip this. Put it on the Instagram. Ethan Ignatowski, no April Fool's Day joke on April 1st, 2025. If I lose this championship to Andrew, I will give him $100 if he will give me 75 if the reverse happens. If I blow the lead to you, I'll give you 100.
That's a deal.
Yeah? Alright, I like those odds. I'm taking those odds. That's how confident I am. That's like the dumbest deal ever, but like I don't care. I'm getting a free $75 now.
What if the guests win? If the guests win, none of us can.
If the guests win, then we're deactivating all of our accounts and going into hiding.
We will be going we will be going into hibernation.
Yes.
You can find me in a cave in somewhere.
We will be competing in Bernese Formula 13.
Anyway, with our picks this week, Japan and Darlington.
Well, me and the guest have the same winner for Formula One. You don't. Why are you going with Oscar Piastri?
Because Oscar Piastri won the last race.
So what they're gonna do is they're gonna switch off every race, or until one of them gets an advantage or something. So I'm going with Lando Norris, as is our guest Alex Martinez.
And
I do have Oscar in second, though.
And I have Lando in second, so...
Yeah. What I'm confused by is, why do you have Max in third?
Because that white Red Bull car might be the best white racing vehicle I've seen ever.
So what, plus 15 horsepower?
Plus 15 aura points, which counts the overall speed.
Okay.
So...
What's happening is no car is close to... Well, that's not true. It seems like the McLarens just have an advantage that is probably possible to beat, but really, really difficult. So when you look at the rest of the field, you have Max, you have George, and you have the two Ferraris. The two Ferraris have had... Or just the Ferrari team has had a really bad... start to the season. So I'm gonna count them out. Max,
that's fair.
I don't know, man. Like, he's obviously the best driver in the world, but like he's not he's about as close to a miracle worker as we have in Formula One, but he is still not a miracle worker. I'm not sure he can get that car on the podium because that car just seems like an absolute dog to drive. And so who do you have? You have George Russell, who has been on the podium in both races to start the season. He's just running extremely clean, extremely well for the most part to start the year. And I honestly, like, I almost hope that this isn't the podium because it would very start quickly just becoming the new Hambot Ver. But for at least the near future, I don't really see anything changing.
That's fair. I guess going with Yuki Tsunoda because it's fun. Moving over to NASCAR Xfinity Series with the amount of Cup drivers in the field, 3 Cup drivers and 3 quality rides. We picked 2 of the 3. Ethan and I going with Christopher Bell. Guess going with Chase Elliott. I don't feel like I need to explain either of those picks further. I don't know about you, Ethan.
Nah.
Guess going with Denny Hamlin, trying to go back-to-back, 4-time winner at Darlington, solid pick. I'm going with Kyle Larson. I feel like this track should suit him more than it actually does. He likes riding the high line. Got to ride the high line at Darlington.
Mm-hmm.
So it feels like Kyle Larson should have more than one win here. But he doesn't.
I'm going with Chase Briscoe as let's call him like a preferred underdog. He does good at Darlington, but like you don't feel like the absolute most confident taking him. But like sometimes if you pick the obvious guys, it just ends up not working. Sometimes you do pick the obvious guys and it does end up working. So you gotta switch things up every now and then. I took an obvious guy last weekend. Got me a point. Gonna switch up the strategy. See what happens. I don't know. Like I said, I'm winning anyway, so it really doesn't matter.
Now, with 15 minutes left in the show nearly, I'm going to run through all the throwback, just tell you the throwback cars. You can go look at them. Because I think Throwback Weekend is cool and I want to talk about it, and we don't have anything else to do in this 15 minutes or so. So I'm going to just run through them real quick. Austin Cindric is throwing back to the 1979-1980 Dale Earnhardt throwback scheme when he drove the number 2, Ethan. Won a championship in that car. Didn't always drive the number 3. Noah Gragson is throwing it back to Dale Earnhardt Jr. in his first, I believe, Xfinity start. Kyle Larson throwing it back to a Frosted Flakes car that Terry Labonte did in the 2000s. Chase Elliott throwing it back to Kenny Schrader with the that probably the worst throwback of the year, just because on what it's trying to do is what it's throwing back to is not very close in any way. Ty Dillon throwing it back to 1989 Patty Moyes throwback, and they got the original sponsor on that car, Beaver Street Fisheries, so good for them. Denny Hamlin throwing it back to Carl Edwards. Ryan Blaney throwing it back to Dave Blaney's Charlotte scheme that he won in, which was a Haas Avocados car. Fun fact for you. Chris Buescher throwing it back to his racing mentor Rick Ferkel. Josh Berry throwing it back to the 1965 Jim Clark Indianapolis 500 winning paint scheme.
I like that one.
The Lotus car. Joey Logano throwing it back to a 1976 Cale Yarborough scheme. William Byron throwing it back to a 2015 Jeff Gordon throwback scheme in his final race. I vividly remember that race. It's weird for me to see cars that are throwing back to cars that I've seen race. Cole Custer throwing it back to Mr. Excitement Jimmy Spencer. John Hunter Nemechek throwing it back to his dad, a 1998 scheme. Eric Jones running another 1998 year with a John Andretti car. Alex Bowman throwing it back to Hendrick Motorsports' 200th win car that Jimmy Johnson drove, and another scheme that I've seen run in my life. Cody Ware going to throw it back to Ward Burton in the 1990s when he drove the Caterpillar car for, I don't know that Bill Davis Racing 22 car, honoring Tommy Baldwin Jr., the crew chief of that car, and who is now the competition director over at Rickware. I'm going to go over to the Xfinity Series 2 because we have time. Carson Kvapil throwing it back to Jamie McMurray. That was the scheme he won the Daytona 500 in, or DW shouted after the race, "Yes! Little Jamie, baby!" Here's a banger throwback right here from Parker Retzlaff. 1990s Ernie Irvan throwback scheme. Got that one almost perfectly in terms of replicating what was on the car to now. Just great execution there. Justin Allgaier doing a sponsor throwback to just his sponsor. Junior Motorsports for Sammy Smith doing a Dale Jr. 3 doors down scheme. So that's an interesting one. Daniel Dye throwing it back to Adam Petty. Josh Williams throwing it back to Mark Martin. That is Garrett Smithley throwing it back to Terry Labonte. That's a cool scheme that I haven't seen before. William Sawalich throwing it back to Kyle Busch in the Xfinity Series. Again, a scheme that I remember vividly. When I was a young fan, not rooting for Kyle Busch, when he would dominate the Xfinity Series on a weekly basis. Christopher Bell again throwing it back to Rick Ferkel. Brandon Jones throwing it back to Matt Kenseth. That's another scheme that I have. I have a die cast of a later year of this car, so that's interesting for me. Harrison Burton and cool car honoring his dad from 2000. Dean Thompson throwing it back to Jamie McMurray again. 2 different McMurray cars. Jeb Burton throwing it back to his dad, Ward Burton, a cool car. Kyle Sieg, ooh, this is a good one. I hadn't seen this one before. Throwing it back to the 2002 Ricky Rudd scheme. That's one I haven't seen before. And we got a new one here. For Ryan Sieg, Kyle Sieg's brother, throwing it back to Dale Jarrett with a reverse throwback scheme. I'm not quite sure what that is. I haven't seen that. What it's throwing it back to. They didn't have a picture of it on the rendering, Ethan. Sam Mayer throwing it back to the 2017 Kurt Busch Daytona 500 winning car, which it's weird to me. Again, seeing that. I have a diecast of. I don't have it. I don't. It's not this exact car because Monster doesn't put their brand on diecast, but of a car from that's very similar to this. Like, it's too like these throwbacks aren't put in the back and throwback.
Fair.
But it's still weird to me. Brendan Poole throwing it back to a Jeff Gordon car that's from 2001. Mason Massey throwing it back to a Jimmy Spencer, 2 throwbacks to Mr. Excitement this year. Nick Sanchez throwing it back to 1975 Bobby Unser Indy 500 car. I don't know if that was a winning car. That is a beautiful looking race car. Baby blue. I'm not a huge baby blue guy, Ethan, but
I like baby blue.
But here, this is something about it. It's just, I think I like it. Jeremy Clemens throwing it back to Harry Gant, a classic car. Leland Honeyman Jr. throwing it back to Jeff Green 2000, the Nesquik car. Beautiful car. Ryan Ellis throwing it back to himself back when he was racing in 2001, Ethan.
Mm-hmm.
As you're messing with the headphones.
You don't need to commentate. You know, we don't need play-by-play on the studio, Andrew.
Connor Zilic throwing it back to Buddy Baker with a cool-looking car. And finally, last one here on the NASCAR.com gallery, which is probably missing a few at this point because that's NASCAR.com for you. Throwing it back to Jeff Burton with a great-looking car, Ethan. Just, we'll see all these throwbacks hit the track. If you aren't doing a throwback on Throwback Weekend, I will. If you are a bum, I hope Trev from Trev's chirps you. That's really all I have to say about that. Ethan, do you have anything else to say for this episode? We've got a couple minutes to fill.
I don't know. What should we talk about for 3 minutes, Andrew? We're never there was nothing to talk about this week, which just never happens because we're normally just nonstop yapping for an hour, and there was absolutely nothing to talk about this week. So it just was a very. I'm gonna admit it was a boring episode. So sorry, everyone, but there will hopefully be more stuff to talk about. Next week.
We didn't really go on many side.
Well, there was nothing really to talk about because the one side tangent was something that we already went on a side tangent about last week. There was nothing to talk about.
Yeah.
Racing series and drivers do a better job of getting some news coming out.
I mean, there's the lawsuits. Just that's not something I expected to see today. I'm like, huh?
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, next week we'll have a lot more to talk about with 2 racing series competing over the weekend. Although, I'll try to watch the F1 race, but I'm not going to be able to watch it live.
Oh, you got friends over?
No, I'm doing baseball on Saturday night.
Oh, so you won't be up Sunday morning? Oh, they're on Japan.
Yeah, they race 10 p.m. on Saturday.
I don't know how time works, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's okay.
Could be worse.
I guess that can be it for tonight, though. Thank you, everyone, if you listen to this weird edition of Blues Wheel Show. Appreciate y'all. And go check out my
interview with Zippy.
Yeah, my appearance on The World According to Zippy. It's under that name on all places where you get your podcast. Should be up. I think he posts them the next day, Andrew. No, I'm joking. But I do think he does post them the next day, so that's that. And see y'all.
Thank you. More great Blaze programming coming right up. First, we're going to play Cop Car by Sam Hunt.
To me, it looked like he actually lost the wheel.
The wheel for Ross Chastain is still and perfect.
Wheel on the track.
Did you leave the wheel loose?
You picked the fine time to leave me loose, wheel.